Good morning, guys. Let's read the Bible. Exodus 12, the Passover lamb. The Passover lamb, if I put it into my own words, it's this thing that we in the world needed and still need to some degree, because we couldn't do it ourselves. That's what the Passover lamb is. We couldn't save the world. So there needed to be this sacrifice. God doesn't desire sacrifice, however. He desires mercy. So that's something that reveals about his character. I'm still a little sick, so sorry. But I wanted to read anyway. Now Adonai spoke to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, "This month will mark the beginning of months for you. It is to be the first month of the year for you." This is a bit like how it will be when the new earth begins. Like, this is where it all starts. "Tell all the congregations of Israel that on the 10th day of his month each man is to take a lamb for his family, one lamb for the household. But if the household is too small for a lamb, then he and his nearest neighbor are to take one according to the number of the people. According to each person eating, you are to make your count for the lamb. Your lamb is to be without blemish, a year-old male. You may take it from the sheep or from the goats." There's like this attention to detail here, and I think it's about, the measure that you measure, it will be measured to you. So it's like this very accurate accounting of, what we are as people, and what constitutes as the thing that we couldn't do ourselves. Your lamb is to be without blemish, a year-old male. You may take it from the sheep or from the goats. You must watch over it until the 14th day of the same month. Then the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel is to slaughter it at twilight. There's like this unity about what they're doing here. They are to take the blood and put it on the two door posts and on the crossbeam of the houses where they will eat it. They are to eat the meat at night, roasted over a fire with much salt and bitter herbs. They are to eat it. Bitter herbs. Yeah. A bit like how Peter wept bitterly, cried bitterly. Right. Do not eat any of it raw or boiled with water, but only roasted with fire, its head with its legs and its innards. So let nothing of it remain until the morning. Whatever remains until the morning you are to burn with fire. Also you are to eat it this way, with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet and your staff in your hand. You are to eat it in haste. It is Adonai's Passover. Oh, this is like how it will be when they have to get out of there eventually in Egypt. Be ready to take off. "For I will go through the land of Egypt on that night and strike down every firstborn, both men and animals, and I will execute judgment against all the gods of Egypt. I am Adonai." That's kind of interesting. Against all the gods of Egypt. The gods of Egypt. That's different from the people of Egypt. But because they worship these gods that are false, then of course they will also suffer the just punishment with the measure that they measured, right? "This day is to be a memorial for you. You are to keep it as feast to Adonai. Throughout your generations you are to keep it as an eternal ordinance." Eternal ordinance, yeah. This is where we get to the fulfillment of the law that we have in Christ. I think gratitude is a big part of that fulfillment. For 7 days you are to eat mitzvot, but on the first day you must remove chametz from your houses. For whoever... Hello. For whoever eats hametz from the first day until the seventh day, that soul will be cut off from Israel. Maybe I should look up what this means. This is obviously something that's very, very forbidden. Hametz. The 7 days you are to eat mitzvot. The first day you must remove hametz from your house. You know, there's a time for everything, I guess. That's what it means. There's a time for everything, and sometimes it is incredibly wrong. That time is incredibly wrong. The first day is to be a holy assembly for you, as well as the seventh day. No manner of work is to be done on those days except what is to be eaten by every person. That alone may be prepared by you. So you're to observe the feast of mitzvot. For on this very same day have I brought your ranks out of the land of Egypt. Therefore you are to observe this day throughout your generations as an eternal ordinance. During the first month, in the evening of the 14th day of the month, you are to eat mitzvot until the evening of the 21st day of the month. Oof. Yeah, it's like autistic. So much repetition. This is something that makes a people into the kind of people that the ancient Jews were. And I guess today they would be like, well, they're the descendants of those people, so something remains. For 7 days no hametz is to be found in your houses, for whoever eats hametz, that soul will be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he is an outsider or one who is born in the land. That's interesting. Gentiles were included here when it comes to being cut off. So whatever it is, it's something that's contrary to the true faith then, because that's the only reason an outsider would be there in Israel, because they share the same faith. And then we, eat with Abraham and Jacob on the table and stuff like that. That's what Christ said. So it's about real faith, and you're not betraying it. You are to eat no hametz. In all your houses you are to eat mitzvot. Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel and said to them, go select lambs for your families and slaughter the Passover lamb. Elders of Israel. I wonder. Nah. I was wondering if this would have something to do with, in the tribulation, slaughtering the Passover lamb, but it doesn't make sense anymore. Christ was the one who finished this whatever this is, this job, this sacrificing of the lambs. So no, there should not be any more sacrificing the Passover lamb in any way. That's a betrayal of the faith. You have to take a bundle of hyssop, dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and apply it to the crossbeam and 2 cross doorposts, the blood from the basin. None of you may go out the door of his house until morning. Adonai will pass through to strike down the Egyptians, but when he sees the blood on the crossbeam and the 2 doorposts, Adonai will pass over that door, will not allow the destroyer to come into your houses to strike you down. Yeah. Also, you are to observe this event as an eternal ordinance for you and your children. Now, when you come into the land which Adonai will give you as he promised, you are to keep this ceremony. Now, when this happens, that your children ask you, what does this ceremony mean to you? You are to say, this is the sacrifice of Adonai's Passover, because he passed over the houses of Israel in Egypt, and he struck down the Egyptians, but spared our households. So the people bowed their heads and worshipped. This is the ark of Christ. Yeah. So whoever believed, the power of resurrection. Then Bnei Israel went and did it. They did just as Adonai had commanded Moses and Aaron. So it came about at midnight that Adonai struck down all the firstborn in the land of Egypt. So this is like the most important of these godless people. That's what it means, the firstborn. So whoever succeeds most at the thing that is wrong. Whoever worships the money the best will be stricken down. Whoever worships and idolizes men and women the best, who is best at glorifying themselves, the firstborn of all these sinners, these sins, will be destroyed. Then Bnei Israel went and did it. They did just as Adonai had commanded Moses and Aaron. So it came about at midnight that Adonai struck down all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of the Pharaoh sitting on his throne to the firstborn of the captive who was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn cattle. So it doesn't matter on what level you are, I guess. That's kind of interesting. So it's not just the head figures, the figures that are like leaders or whatever, that are worshipping the devil and his minions. It doesn't matter if you were pathetic when you did it. Your firstborn dies. This is so old. I can't wait to talk to Christ, the Messiah, when he comes. When the resurrection happens, I'm going to ask him questions. Okay, now explain these things using words that are much more real than these analogies and the symbolisms. Like, I hate how old this is. I hate how old this is. Firstborn. Talking about those who are born to a bunch of people who are barren in the soul. It's like scripture misses the mark, but it doesn't. It's we who have done it so greatly. Then Pharaoh rose up the night rose up in the night, he and his servants and all the Egyptians, and there was a loud wailing in Egypt, for there was no house where someone was not dead. So he called for Moses and Aaron at night and said, "Rise up, go out from my people, both you and Bnei Israel, go serve Adonai as you have said. Take your flocks and your herds, and you said, and be gone, but bless me too." There's also this assumption in a lot of these stories is that people care about life, that they want to keep on living. Once you remove that, this means nothing. All these like these judgments, they don't mean anything. God is the God of the living, and here he is in the stories creating dead. Okay, so he's not their God then. So he called for Moses and Aaron at night and said, "Rise up, go out from my people, both you and Bnei Israel, go serve Adonai as you have said." These are the people who are alive. Take your flocks and your herds, as you said, and be gone, but bless me too. Who said this? Take your flocks and your herd, as you said, and be gone, but bless me too. Who said this? God. Is God asking for blessings? No, it's Pharaoh. Okay. Now the Egyptians urged the people, sending them out of the land quickly, for they thought, "We will all be dead." So the people took their dough before it was leavened with their kneading bowls bound up in the clothes on their shoulders. So Bnei Israel acted according to the word of Moses. They asked the Egyptians for articles of silver and gold and cloth for clothing. Adonai gave the people favor in the eyes of the Egyptians and let them have what they asked for, so they plundered the Egyptians. Yeah. These are the stories that you get the true lessons. And that is, the sinner gathers wealth for the righteous, right? So anything the greedy people in the world has done, it's something that serves the righteous instead. That's what it means. The wealth that they've created, it's not about their monies, that's just something that people print and made up. It's something that's of actual worth. What have people done in the world that is of actual worth? If you remove the delusion of money, what is it that they've done? Or somebody like me, who lives in a kind of poverty, in his tent, that just means like, oh, well, there's like these shelters that we've created. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. Like, there's like these comforts that we can have where it's not so bad to exist in the flesh. That's something that is of some kind of true value. It has to be. I guess when you start to think of like bigger things like medicine and stuff like that can also be useful. But it's something that has to be completed by God. But it's, you know, working toward that end. And then it will be taken by the righteous. I sometimes like what people have done to the world And when I talk about the world, I mean really, in this case, the nature. People can add things to the world that God created, and work with the natural wealth that is there. Improving it, some would say. Yeah, there are stuff like that. Then Bnei Israel journeyed from Ramses to Succoth, about 600,000 men on foot, as well as children. Also a mixed multitude went up with them, along with the flocks, herds, and heavy livestock. They had baked mitzvot, cakes from the dove. By the way, I think that's about the people who endured during the tribulation. About 600,000 men. Those are the people who are still alive when the rest of the world is worshipping the beast. That's what that number is about. And it doesn't, of course, include like women. Or children. Also a mixed multitude went up with them, along with the flocks, herds, and heavy livestock. They had baked mitzvot, cakes from the dove that were brought out of Egypt, blah blah blah. Yeah. It had no hametz because they were thrust out of Egypt and could not delay, so they have not made provisions for themselves. What? What are they saying now? Ugh. I still don't know what that mitzvot thing is. I like reading this Messianic Jew Bible because it's like this immersive thing. Like you have to go up and look at what that is. Like there's some kind of thing that they make. And some of it represents like poverty, and some of it represents like wealth and good times and stuff like that. It was night of watching for Adonai to bring them out of the land of Egypt. The same night is a night of vigil for Adonai, for all Bnei Israel throughout their generations. Then Adonai said to Moses and Aaron, "This is the ordinance of the Passover. No foreigner may eat it, but every manservant that is bought for money after you have circumcised him may eat it." Nor should have visitor or hired servant eat it. It is to be eaten inside a single house, not to carry the meat out of the house, nor are you to break any of its bones. Sometimes I read the Bible and I read it like, oh, this is just for me. And I don't even bother, trying to explain what I'm reading. I can't be bothered. Like if you aren't on board at this point, then there's a reason that tribulation happens. Nor should a visitor or hired servant eat it. It is to be eaten inside a single house. Hey, that's the house of David that Christ received. You are not to carry the meat out of the house, nor are you to break any of its bones. All the congregations of Israel must keep it. But if an outsider dwells with you, who would keep the Passover for Adonai, all his males must be circumcised. Let him draw near and keep it. There's more Gentiles who are circumcised than Jews. I think that's true in both ways. Maybe. By the way, I said that the number of people who endure during the tribulation is 600,000. like the number. Nah, I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't really care. Like making predictions like that. It's not about the numbers. The numbers always have like a significance in scripture, but it's never about the number itself. It's about something else. So it's like shorthand for something. But the numbers themselves aren't that important. Maybe the 12 apostles, that's important. And 1 is important. The same Torah applies to the natives as well as the outsider who dwells among you. So all Bnei Israel did so. They did just as Adonai commanded Moses and Aaron. You know, the same fulfillment of the law that is in the Messiah also applies to the Jews. So all Bnei Israel did so. They did just as Adonai commanded Moses and Aaron. It was on that very day that Adonai brought Bnei Israel out of the land of Egypt as armies. Wow. As armies, just like the holy martyr saints who are like angels who come with Christ in the first resurrection, like an army. Yahoo.